Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Today is Sunday at this very hour. Um, Without much further ado, today we are going to learn how we can create our own websites and use the same website to uh, display our portfolio. Um, Inshallah, next week we will properly start the second stage of the machine learning. Um, Today we have Lukman here today that will dive us through the process of creating a website, which is very simple approach to create portfolio for your project you are doing. Now, why do we care to create a portfolio website? One of the key things we already asked you to do was basically to learn some of the things that will help you to write better while creating portfolio. And that's why we asked you to, number one, start writing Medium blog post. Number two, um, doing the course Writing in Science. Now, the Medium blog post has already given you an idea how to create a blog post, but that is on Medium. We also went through the Writing in Science, which basically take you through on how you can create your contents using a better way construct or writes a sentence and engaging content. Now, if you look at it, sometimes data scientists move from, for example, Medium and other stuff to create their own website where they can have their portfolio. For example, I have my own website, which is a bit old, I think. Yeah, so you can see my website, which is old. I haven't updated it. You can see I'm PhD candidate, which I finished, but I will hopefully today update my content, my website. So you can create your own website, put everything, your whatsoever, and thus you create a portfolio for your own. For example, that Idris Abdul Karim, Idris Abdul Mumin also has his own website. For Idris Abdul Mumin, you can see Dr. Idris, this is his own website, you can, so it left for you to, create your portfolio. As data scientists, you can create a portfolio where you can put all the projects you are working on so that when you apply for a job, you can share your website. People can see what you have been up to, what you have done. So there are several ways to create websites. As you can see, Dr. Idris' website is different from my own, right? So everyone has the different flavor to create their own website. So we have technologies. One of the easiest among them is what we call Quarto. We'll dive into Quarto. For example, this website is created by Quarto, and today we'll go through Quarto to create a website. And you already know that as well. You can also do what we call WordPress. Previously, in those days, WordPress is one of the easiest way to create a website. But also there is what we call Hugo. Hugo is a way to create a static website as well. For example, my website is from this Hugo website, and you need not to write any single code. You can create websites. So let me show you some templates to create a website. Look at this one. This is a template for Resume, for example. We can see this view demo. You can see this is a website. You can create your website like this. You can have your bio. You can have the blog where you can write content, what you have been doing, your experience. You can see them, your projects. You can write some of the project you did, machine learning, data science, some of the stuff like that. You can do that. So you can see there are many here, project templates. You can pick like this one. You can see these, academic CV. You can see this one. This is Blog Pro. Let's look at this one. So this one, if you want to create, blogs only, where you can see you are creating content about, different content about what you are up to, you can create about blog. So these are different templates you can work on. and pretty simple. You can see this is the template for my own, yeah. So having said that, you can also create documentation. So having said that, why do we care to create our own blog? As I said, it's just to create a portfolio, to sell yourself, to show to the world, this is what you have been doing, this is what you did and whatsoever. We also have Quarto. So today, Lukman will take us through Quarto, how you can create your simple website, which Lukman in our previous cohort also part of those that benefit from using Quarto, and he created his website using Quarto. Hopefully, maybe along the machine learning course, I will also walk through this approach to create a website, any of these. But for today, Lukman will take us through Quarto, and we expect all of you before next week to implement your website, to have your working website. It's pretty simple. So let me use this opportunity to allow Lukman to take us through the approach of creating our own blog post using Quarto. Lukman, are you here? Okay. Lukman, we cannot hear you if you are here. Lukman, we cannot hear you if you are here. Okay, so Lukman, I think he is having network issue, but I can see he is joining again.
Oh, I just left and came back. I hope I'm audible now.
Yeah, you are audible. So I gave you the co-host. You can share your screen.
Okay, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to look at how to create a blog in Quarto. Okay, so I'm sharing a screen here just to begin. So as an introduction, I just wanted to advocate for why somebody should maybe create a blog in Quarto before you move to, while you're using maybe Medium or another platform for blogging. So this is an article I wrote of visualization. So I just want to go over it. So I have some code here. I use Matplotlib and Seaborn to visualize some data. So these are the visualization. So to explain to you the process I went through writing the blog post. So I had to write the code on a Jupyter notebook, run the code, get the pictures, download them, and then copy the code to Medium, and then upload the pictures to and label them. This is something that I could do automatically using Quarto. So this is something that as a motivation for why somebody should use Quarto instead of maybe using Medium. So there are always positives and negatives to using it, but this is a particular positive I would like to emphasize. So if you want to show your code and you want to do output, number one, you cannot execute your code in Medium, but you can execute it in Quarto. And then when you see the output, you have to find a way to display the output, whether it's numbers or tables or visualization. So, and then as an example, let me show this tab. So in this particular place, I use Quarto. So this is R. I use ggplot to create a visualization. So this is a line, this thing. So this is a scatter plot. So with this plot, I was able to write the code and execute the code and get the output here using Quarto. So, and that's why and this is an advantage over using Medium, though somebody will have to sacrifice some other advantages that are derived from using the Medium platform. But that's how it is. You have to weigh the pros and cons. So for Quarto is an an advancement from R Markdown. So there was a platform called R Markdown for displaying. So it was for reproducing things. When you write your code, you want to share with the output, and you want to add some notes for people to know. That was why R Markdown was designed. And then Quarto is an advancement because it's not just for R. It has, you can render it in different outputs: HTML, PDF, MS Word, EPUB. You can do different things, presentations. You can create PowerPoints, you can do your blog, you can do your website, and so many things. And then it supports different languages. So here we have Python. We are all familiar with Python. We have R. So with R, it's also a good programming language for data science, and it's quite popular in the academic community, especially those involved in statistics. And then there's Julia too, which is a new data science language that started in 2012. For people that are in our data camp group, there are some courses on Julia for those interested. And then there's Observable too. So for Observable, it's all about creating dashboards and data apps using code. So if you know Python, or you know SQL, or you know R, or you know HTML, you can create dashboards and apps using Observable. So the whole point is that with Quarto, you can use all these things and display them. You have a platform to display them, and you can even combine them together. So that's why it's good to use Quarto. So to get started with Quarto, the first thing is to download it. So you download and install the same way you download and install your Python or anything. So here we can go to download, and for download, so the website is quarto.org. So once you go to quarto.org, you can see. So the download is very visible. You just see it there, and you just click on it, and then you choose your platform. So if you're using Windows, Linux, or Mac, whichever you choose it, you download it and you install on your system. So you have to install it first before you can use it. And then you also need your IDE. So whether the IDEs it supports, there's VS Code, there's RStudio, and then you can use your command line to do. So if you're good in command line, you can just use command line, this thing, commands, and just do it, Quarto this, Quarto that, and maybe write everything. Once you have all the files there, you can just use your command line and publish and do whatever you want, create your project in Quarto. So that's it about the introduction and why we should use Quarto. So I would like to display how we can create a simple blog post. And one thing with Quarto, especially when you're using an IDE, is that you can easily use the templates. So you can start with the templates and then improve. And one important thing with things like this, okay, learning how to use Quarto, learning other things, it's all about, there's something Dr. Shamsuddin has always said, learning by doing. You have to make sure you're doing it. You have to practice, you have to do it. When you do today and you understand a little, tomorrow you do, and that's how you build up and you gain confidence in the skills. So I would like to display how to do a simple blog post, a simple blog website in Quarto using VS Code. So I'm choosing VS Code as the IDE, and then the first thing, like I said, is to download. You have to download Quarto and install it on your system. And after that, you need to install the Quarto extension in VS Code. So you need to install the Quarto extension in VS Code before you can begin. So the first step is to download Quarto on the website quarto.org, and then you need to install the Quarto extension in VS Code, and then you can begin. You also need to have a programming language. You need to have, maybe, it depends on whether you need code, but you need, whether you're using Python, R, or whatever, you have to make sure it's there. So I'm sharing my VS Code now. So like I said, the first thing is to download and install the Quarto. You have to download and install it the same way you download and install your Python or your R and whatever. And then after that, you install the extension. There's a Quarto extension that you need to install. So this is the Quarto extension. you have to install it. So mine is already installed. So after downloading and installing and also installing the Quarto extension, then you're good to go. So before, if you want to create, this is just the plain VS Code. If you want to create a blog, you can just go to the, you can just press Control Shift and P, and that will show you Control Shift and P. You can choose to create project, or you can go, there are different ways, there are different approaches, but the first thing is to go to create a Quarto project. So Quarto create project. So you press Control Shift and P, or you can just go to your file and then new. There you decide. So create project, you click on create project, and then it gives you the option. So you have default project, simple project with starter document, and then you have website project. So website is about, you have pages in the website, a regular website, and then there is blog project. So with blog project is different because you have your about page, it's only about you, and then you have your post that you'll be adding to the blog. And then you have a book project for maybe you want to publish a book, so you can have different chapters. So I'm going to show you books that were created using Quarto, because you can create books especially related to code. And then there's manuscript project. So for us now, the focus is a blog project. So I'm going to select blog project. So you need to select the destination of the project, and then you give it a name. So I'm giving it a name. So I have the project here ready, visible. So it comes with a template. I have all the required files. So there is a post folder, a directory, and then under directory you have a post with code, and you have a welcome, and then there is this metadata.yml. So anything you have .yml, YAML, you either call it .yaml or YML. So anything with like that is something that controls how your code will display. So if you open the .yaml file, we'll see things like freeze through and things like that. To understand all these parameters, you have to follow documentation on quarto.org to see what each of them mean. But for this freeze, it's all about whether if you push a code there, you want it to remain the way it, so that it doesn't render every time you make an update. So, and then there's also the quarto.yaml that's here. Quarto.yaml is for the entire blog, how you want things related to the entire blog. So you have the type of the blog, the website, and then you have the name, the title. I can change the title here. And then you have the way it's arranged, the navigation bar, and then everything. So here, since it's a blog, a personal blog, we can add our details. So like GitHub, you can add your GitHub ID so that it just goes there. If you're interested in putting Twitter, you can put it, and other details. You can even add other things here. So that's this quarto.yaml. So the important thing to note on this particular template is that you need to work on the YAML file. So you need to check them and see what they contain, and then customize them. And also another thing is, for any post you need to put, is all in a QMD file. So you have index.qmd, you have about.qmd. These are the files that you actually render. So for index.qmd, this one controls how your your blog is. So it has the name, it has the listing, how you contents of the blog is in the post directory, and then how you sort them is by date descending. So all the recent ones will be on top. And then you have your categories, and then sort UI. All these are extra parameters that if somebody wants to know exactly what each parameter means, you have to check the documentation on quarto.org. And then you can add your, this is a profile.jpg, like a picture. So you can change this and put your own particular picture. And then this, so the most important folder to check is the post folder, and then post with code. And then you can edit that. So for this, let's check this is index.qmd, and this is about.qmd. So if let's say about this block, I can just say this is a practice. This is a practice block for the class. So we just put that. And then the next thing is to create a post. So what I want to display is that part of the reason is important. So in this post directory, for every new post you want to put, you need to add a folder inside. So for now, we have a folder inside post with code. So this will be the first post we have in the blog. So we enter the folder. In the folder, you need an index.qmd. So you can add. So let's see, I will add my own folder here. So there's this in VS Code. If you're using VS Code, you have these icons. The first one is for new file. The second one is for new folder. So you click on new folder. So I can just write first post, new folder. So after clicking on the new folder, I click on this first icon, which is new file, and add my file, index.qmd. It has to be a QMD file. So after adding it, enter. So I have an index.qmd file, and then I have this. So the next thing is for the post with code that came with template, you have to follow this template of, this is the front matter YAML for any Quarto post. There's a front matter YAML, and this controls what is inside. So you can add your categories, the date, your name, and things like that. So I can put my name here, and then the categories and the rest. So if I have an image, like there's an image in that folder, so I can put it there so that it will show. And then this is, so I'm leaving this one the way it is, because once we publish the page, we are going to check whether they correspond. So, and then I'm going to the next one. So for the next one, you have to put 3, for the first post now, I have to put 3 hyphens, and then I'll write this thing. I will write my own front matter YAML following what it is. So I put the title, colon, and then the title of the blog. So let's say data visualization with Python and R. And then the next one is the author. So we put the author with code, with colon, and then we go, the next is the date. So for the date, we have to follow the pattern, put it in quotation marks and put the year first, then the month, which is March, and then the day. So the next thing is the categories and image. So for image, I'm not going to add an image here. So I'm not putting an image, but I'll put categories. So categories, you put it in a list. So you put it in a list, and then you list them. So I can just write Python R, then data vis. So just make sure that you have this thing, and then you close it with 3 colons too, and then you're done with the front matter YAML. That's the first thing. So the next thing is just for, I will just write 2 plots that will render and then will show. So the first thing, to generate an executable code block, you use 3 quotation marks, and then you put a curly bracket, 3 quotation marks, curly bracket, and then you write the language. So we'll start with Python. So I'm writing the language for Python, and then let's see this thing. So we'll just visualize something in Python. So for now, I'll just write, visualizing something related to, this is the tips data set in Seaborn. So I can just do that. The next thing is, let's say I will put another one for R. So this is to show you that you can do more than one language on the same notebook, and it's going to render. So the next one is, let's say I use Python to do the first plot and R to do the second plot. So for the R, I'm going to use ggplot, a library in R, and then I'm going to do. So if you put a three distinct backticks, for the 3 backticks and then a curly bracket, and then under it, after you finish the code, you also do another 3 backticks. So that's all. So I can save this and execute everything. So there are different ways to render it, but I'll render it using the terminal. So new terminal, and then so I'm going to change it to an environment that has Python and all those packages installed. So conda activate Arewa DS. So I'm in the environment that has everything installed. So I call Quarto render. So you can render it on top, or you can go to the command palette. So you can go to the command palette, which is Ctrl-Shift-P, and then render the project, or you can use the command line. There are so many options. So but I prefer the command line Quarto render. So once I click on Quarto render, publish, so it's rendering the post. So I have it's rendering and doing the code. So we're going to check it and see. So it's going, rendering, and then it's done. So it's done, and then we have it here in sites index.html. So I can easily open it. So open with live server, and then so I'm sharing the tab is in a different place. Hope you can see. So we have two things: post with code, which is the template, what it came with, and I edited it. And then we go back, and then there's the data visualization with Python and R. So this is the first plot with Python using Seaborn. And then this is the second one with R using ggplot. So you see, you can use more than one programming language on the same document and explaining them. So this is basically the blog post. So the next thing after the blog post is to see how do you display it. So how do I publish my blog? So there are different options, but the simplest one for someone that's just starting out with Quarto is to use Quarto Pub. So there's this website, Quarto Pub. So just Quarto, QUART, then pub, PUB. So once you go to quartopub.com, you're going to be able to create an account and you can easily publish. So it's very simple. Like from the command line here, let me go back to VS Code and just publish so that we can all see it. So from the command line, after going to Quarto Pub and creating an account, from the command line, you just go to command line. So let me share my VS Code now. So from the command line, you just go and then you call the command Quarto publish, Quarto publish, Quarto pub. So Quarto publish, Quarto dash pub. So once you do that, and it's going to show you the account, and then you can also change it if you have more than one account. And then it's going to show you the website, the name of the project. So Arewa DS demo, which is the name. I can change another name if I want, but we'll go with that. And then it's publishing to the site straight. So for the publishing, so it's done. And once you publish it, it's public. So you can begin with Quarto Pub, and then you can also use GitHub and even make it automated so that it can just publish at all times. But these are things that is a step-by-step process. First, understand the layout of how Quarto works, how the QMD files work, and then how you customize the YAML files, YML files. So once you understand that, you can improve step by step. So for the post now, let me share the page on Quarto Pub. So this is the page on Quarto Pub, and then I can easily share the link for people to check it out. It's live and public. So it's live and public. You can check that out, the Quarto Pub. So this is the first one, post with code, that came with the template. And then this is the one we added, data visualization with Python and R. So as you can see, it's all there. So the next thing is just for somebody to customize and improve, and then maybe be adding posts periodically. So this is just, it's quite simple to get started. Maybe it can look a bit complicated, but it's just the number of steps. Once you follow the step one by one, it's something easy. So I'll just advise us all to try it out. First, download it from quarto.org, install, and then make sure you install the VS Code extension too. And then after that, you just work with the template, create the template, open it, and then check those files, check the index.qmd, make your edits, check the distance, and then when you want to add a new post, make sure you add a new folder in under post, and then you put your index.qmd. If you have maybe pictures or data set, make sure it's all under the same folder, and then you can work on it. So that's just what I have for an introduction to Quarto. So any questions? Hello, hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
My question, I have two questions. The first one is in installing Quarto, can we use pip as we use in Python to install other packages like pip install Quarto? Will it work?
No, that wouldn't work because Quarto is not like a Python library. So it's not like you're
Okay.
trying to install something into Python. It's something on its own. It's just like the way you install Python in your system. That's the way you install Quarto into your system. It's different.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So you
Then
have to follow
secondly,
what they said. Okay.
yes, secondly, I remember in one of your sessions you used Quarto to in your presentation.
Yes, I did that.
But this one is more like a post, so it's kind of different from what you use. So I was wondering how that one can be done to present something unlike a post.
Okay. So like we said, there's the template. Quarto always comes with templates. So for the blog post, that's the template we use today. But if you want to create just maybe you want to present a document, all you need to do is just create a new QMD file, just a new Quarto file. So you can go to your VS Code and just open and create a new file differently. Just create it as a .qmd, the same way you create a .py file or .ipymb file. So once you create a file .qmd, you're just going to write everything. So with that same file, you can make it a website, you can make it a PowerPoint presentation based on just changing some of the parameters. But to be conversant with those parameters, you have to check the documentation. So if you want to make it, so as you can see on the screen, this is Quarto. So if you want to make it a slide, a presentation, is there how to change it. So there are different ways. There is the reveal JS for making presentation, and there are others. So once you check and see how they put it, you just change it in the output form. So you can make it either a normal page or a presentation, even like the same document we use for this visualization. We can just copy it out, make it a fresh Quarto document on its own. That's outside the project, and then you can render it as a presentation. You can use the same document for a presentation, for a website, for different. That's the beauty of Quarto. But you have to check this documentation for the exact process.
Yeah. So as Lukman said, Quarto is one of the, tool that you can use to make different stuff. So for example, these are some of the stuff that you can use Quarto for. The first one, you can do authoring document, you can do markdown, whatsoever. You can do any computation, for example, Python R. You can use it with either Jupyter Lab, VS Code, any editor you want. You can use it to type document, for example, HTML, PDF, anything you want. For example, if you look at PDF, you can use it to write PDF document. You can use Quarto to do presentation, that is PowerPoint. You can use it to build, dashboard. We know that dashboard, what is dashboard, right? Something like this where you can see as a data science, sometimes you need to create a dashboard where you see, you can create some kind of visualization and whatsoever. So you can use Quarto to create a dashboard. You can see it, yeah. And again, you can use Quarto to create a website. This is what Lukman just said. Create a website, create a blog, create a book. In fact, you can create a book using Quarto. So if you look at this one, for example, this book, Quarto, Art for Data Science. So this book was created using Quarto. In fact, the other book with this one, Python for Data Analysis, this book has been created using Quarto. Yeah, so you look at this book. This book has been created using Quarto technology, and which is, very good way to do many other stuff. Apart from creating a book, you can use Quarto for, Shiny, which is one of the interactivity stuff. You can publish, as we saw, you can use GitHub pages, Netlify, and whatsoever. You can do project management as well. So Quarto is one of the, a very good tool that you can use to automate and, do a lot of stuff in data science. So what we just show you now is just a tips of iceberg, just small bit of it. If you want to learn more, for example, you want to learn a lot about how you can create a website. So the first thing you need to do is just come to here, get creating a website. So you can get started after you install Quarto for sure. For example, getting started, you need to download the Quarto first, and you choose your stuff. So if you want to do website, you can create a website, then you can get started here, read through, everything explained here. You can see them, and you can navigate for navigation, creating a blog, so you can see them here and whatsoever. If you want to create a book, you can come here. This is the first place to get started on how to create a book. You can see create a project, but what do you want to create? You want to create a book, you can select it. So this is something that we cannot take you through all this stuff, but just give you a head start on that. You can do one of these and you can explore them. Yeah, you can continue, Lukman. Okay, any other question?
So somebody asks, which other method can one use to publish without using the terminal? So let's say if you want to publish with Quarto Pub like I did, you have to use the terminal actually to publish using Quarto Pub. But if you want to use maybe publish on GitHub, and if you want to publish on GitHub, you can publish without using terminal, but initial setup you have to use the terminal. There's a command on the page for you to activate it so that it's going to publish on your GitHub repo. So you may not need to use all the time, but I think maybe 1 or 2 commands you may have to use the terminal at least to get started. But for other ones, you can just render it and then push and commit to GitHub possibly. And then like there's this R for data science book. It was also published using Quarto. So all the visualizations in the book is all using Quarto. So this is the book where they teach the tidyverse in R. So everything from beginning to end, the whole book was published in Quarto. And then we can also check. So for the website we did today, which is the first one. So this is the home page. This is the home page, and then we have
Lukman, you need to unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Lukman. Lukman, you need to unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to say, let's compare between the website we created and the folders on VS Code. So we have a template that we got. We don't need to arrange the folders ourselves, but we need to understand it so that we can add to it. So for the first thing, this is the homepage. So you have welcome to my blog. Then you have the data visualization, the one I added now. And then we have the post with code that came with it initially. So let's go back to VS Code and compare the directories, the folder, the way this thing is arranged. Okay. So this is the VS Code. And then we have the folders. So here we have posts. So everything is in this post directory. So, and then there's the about.qmd, and then there's the index.qmd. So when you see the post, so you have this first post, which is what I added, a folder under post. That's for each extra post you want to do. Each extra blog post, you have to add a new folder. So this is the first folder, you add the folder, and then within the folder, you add your files. So the most important one is the index.qmd, because that's how it's going to render. So inside it, we have the codes for the visualization, what was rendered on the website. And then for their own, the post with code, and this is the code. So it has an image, the image was displayed, and then there's the index.qmd here. And then for the welcome, that's the first one. So we have 3 items there: welcome, post with code, and first post. And these are the way they are. Everything is inside this post directory. So it's quite simple, but you have to just like try it out and then understand how it works. So the only way to properly understand, I know some people may be a bit confused about how it is, but you have to go there, open the template, and then look at it. So this is the welcome page. And then, so when you compare with the web page that we did, is the same, the output. So everything that you see on the page is from the posts directory. The post folder has everything. And then from there, you then add to it. So everything is in post. And from the post, you can begin to add the items. So anytime you want to create a new post, you go to the post folder and then you add to it. So make sure inside the post, you name the post, because what you name it is that's where your URL to the post will be like. So you name the folder, and then inside it you add index.qmd, and then you work on it using Quarto. So for people that know RStudio, I think with RStudio, maybe it will be a bit easy for people to use with this thing, because there are actually 2 interfaces. So there's the source editor and there's the visual editor. So for this one, we use the source editor. So for people who are more conversant with Microsoft Word, maybe you're better used to Microsoft Word, you want a situation where you can just add the things when you need to put your folders, you can do. So you can consider using RStudio too. So for RStudio, it has 2 editors, the source editor and visual editor, and then you can just easily put it. So let me show you for RStudio. So there are always more ways of doing things. It's not just one way. So you just decide which is the best for you. So this is RStudio. So for RStudio, you can so because the people that did Quarto are people that did RStudio. So they try to link it and then put some features there. So you can go to file and then new projects. So you can just create your new project in your new directory. So then you select Quarto projects. So you directory name, and then so let me add the name RAYDS, and then project as subdirectory of none. Then you create the project. So once you create the project, you have it's open the project for you. And it's open the project, and then you have, so the most important thing I would like to show is the difference. Like if you don't want to be putting backticks and then maybe 3 backticks and curly bracket for a code, this thing, so you can just work on it here. It's like there are 2 editors, visual editor and source editor. So for the source editor, that's where you put all the curly brackets and things like that. But for the visual editor, you use it just the way you use Microsoft Word. So you can just begin writing Quarto document. If you want to make it bold, you just go to here, highlight it bold. There's italic, and then here is for adding code blocks. So let's say you're here, you want to add code blocks, you just come here and then add your code block using this thing. So it all depends on how you want to do it. So let's say you want to write a heading, you can just put heading and then you highlight it, then you go there, you make it bold, you change it to heading 2. So if maybe you're more familiar with that, then you can write trying out Quarto in RStudio. So, and then if you want to add code blocks too, you just go there and then you add. your this thing. So with this thing, so with Art Studio is quite, let's say, is you can use the visual editor, and then for the source, everything you do. So if you don't know Markdown, you don't know how to put heading, you don't know how to put table, so you can use the Visual Studio to add those things. So you can, maybe you want to add a picture, you just go to the way it is, and then you add it, like, okay, image, or just you upload the image. You can browse and upload your image and put, or you can move to, let's say, a directory where you have the image, then you upload. I don't have any image in my Linux container here. So, and then you can add. So that's just what I wanted to show. There are different ways, and with Art Studio, you can use the visual editor and then just write it out the way you just write a normal document. And then with that, so you can try out different formats. There are always different ways to do things. So thank you. So I would just like to encourage us all to try it out. You can either use your this thing, Art Studio or VS Code, where we mostly use VS Code here. So please try and use the VS Code. But if you can use more, you can decide to try it out. So whatever works, but the most important thing is practice. So you just make sure you just download, install it, and then you try it out. If you have any challenges, you can ask questions, and I'm sure you will get any support you need. But follow the documentation. Is quite simple. So the only reason it will look a bit maybe complex to people is if you've not tried it out. So even from checking the template, maybe you want to do website, you just click on website and then open it. You see the way it is. Just locate the QMD file, because mostly that's where you're going to edit, and try it out. Just change something, render it, see how the website looks. Then with that, you'll be able to understand it more. If there's anything more complex you want to do, check the documentation. If it doesn't work out, ask. So one thing with this thing, there's always, maybe if you ask on our platform and nobody responds, there are always other, like, they have their own community where they help people with concerns. So you can go to the R community, maybe on Slack or other places, and then you can have any support you need. Maybe you're asking for something complex that maybe I've not tried out or nobody has tried out. It's all like that. So the most important thing is to practice. Practice it, try and do it first before you know whether you've understood it or not. So thank you. So if anyone has any question, please feel free to ask. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Please, am I still audible? I can't hear anybody.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Okay, good afternoon.
Hello?
Hello, yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. My question is, if you publish your article or your blog post on Quarto, maybe use Quarto now to create your own website, maybe your own website, like how is it going to be published? Is it going to give you a link where people can access it, or what?
Okay, so for the Quarto Pub, so the first thing, the step is to first go to the website quartopub.com, and then you create an account there. So once you create your account, anything you do with Quarto, you can use the command line to send it. So it's quite simple. The command is simple. So if you have a project, so it depends on whether you have maybe a website or this thing. If you have a project like maybe a blog post, a blog website, or a regular website, or a book. So what we mean by a project is like you have a folder that is for that particular purpose. So when you have maybe a website, it's a folder for your web page. So everything is contained within that folder. So if you have a web page, it's just you just put Quarto publish, Quarto pub. That's Quarto hyphen pub. So what I wrote, that's just the command for publishing. And once you publish, it's going to put it to your website. So let's say your account, like my account is Lukman AJ. So it's going to be lukmanaj.quarto.pub / the name of the project folder. That's how it's going to be. And when you go to the Quarto Pub, you can actually make one of the web pages since you publish to be your primary page. Anybody that goes to your page on Quarto is going to see that. So maybe you want to create a page for your portfolio or something about you. You can just make that one the permanent landing page. If anybody goes to your website, is going to see that first. Unless you direct him to a particular project you did, you can still add other pages and things. So, but if you want to use GitHub too, there's also the process there for publishing on GitHub too. But mostly it's going to be your account name / the name of the project. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It does. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. So is there any other question? I think we have like 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. Please do explore many other stuff that you can do with Quarto to craft your own website and blog, and do send us question in the channel. If
Good afternoon, Doc.
Yes.
Doc, you said that you asked me to send me a mail yesterday, and I did, but
I reply your email. I reply your email. Check your email.
All right, sir. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes. So yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us today. Inshallah, on next week, Saturday, we will dive into the machine learning. If you are interested, please, before next week, try to create your own blog, your own website, and do ask questions in the channel if you have any. So see you next week. Bye-bye for now. Ciao.